Hi, I'm Joel Hunter and I'm a cataract surgeon. I'm an ophthalmologist that takes out cataracts and replaces them with clear lenses. And today I want to talk to you about what are cataracts. So cataracts are a little bit different than your average human condition. We all suffer many afflictions in this mortal coil, but cataracts are different among those afflictions, and the reason is when you ask, who gets cataracts, the answer is everyone. There is no one who avoids cataracts if they live long enough. If you think of, your great uncle Marvin, who never had cataracts and could see great, and he was 98 years old, and he probably smoked 8 cigarettes at a time. He had cataracts. The thing is, they happen so incredibly slow over such an incredibly long period of time that it's easy to not know that you've gotten cataracts. And we'll go into why it's so slow and why it's easy to not know that you have them until you get them taken out, and then you can actually see. The other thing about cataracts is that, and forgive me if this seems so obvious it's insulting, it affects your vision. And so anytime anyone thinks about stuff that affects their vision, it automatically jumps to blindness. And cataracts oftentimes get, it's kind of bedfellows with macular degeneration and glaucoma, because you think about what are the things that can make you go blind. And while that is technically true of any of those, cataracts are different for two big reasons. They're different because they are curable. And they're different because it's the only one that, again, everyone gets. So it's not true of glaucoma. Very few people get glaucoma, and it's not true of macular degeneration. Very few get macular degeneration, enough that we know about it. But with cataracts, it's everyone. So why does it happen? So why do we get them? Well, let's go to the source. What is a cataract? Well, a cataract is an affliction, a cloudiness of the lens inside all of our eyes, all of us humans' eyes, and pretty much mammalian eyes in general. It looks like this. So there's this cornea on the front, and then you got this, your iris, the colored part of your eye, your retina's back here, your optic nerve plugs into the back of your eye. Right here, big and beautiful, is the lens inside your eye. All of us have one, and it's a necessary thing to have in an eye because it's what gives us focusing power. It's what gives us autofocus. And when we're young, that lens is clear and perfect. It's got this beautiful autofocus. It's the consistency of like Jell-O that's been out of the refrigerator for 4 hours. It's just very, very soft and flexible. But the lens, over time, it lays down new layers. It lays down these layers like a tree lays down these rings. So if you see like a young sapling, the little branches off here, it'll have these little support things to hold it up. If you're, a horticulturalist, I think that's somebody that plants trees. This does not look like a good tree, but you got the straps because it's so supple. It's so supple, the young oak sapling. If you go to like 100-year-old oak tree, 200-year-old, it's just, you can drive a Buick into it, and your Buick will look bad, and the oak tree won't even notice because it's so strong and rigid, the trunk of that tree. And what's happened in that time? It's laid down new layers every single year. Well, the human lens does the same thing. It lays down these layers like the rings in a tree. And the ones in the middle, they don't have anywhere to go, so they just get more and more compact in the center. And that causes two different things to happen. As these layers in the middle get more and more compact, it does two things. It gets more dense, and it gets more cloudy. This one right here is, I'm going to try to draw a pair of readers. Let's see here. There's this. There you go. if you've seen glasses that are shaped like that, like Dumbledore's glasses, those are readers, and there's a reason that there's a rack of readers in every CVS and Walgreens and every store that you walk into, is because everyone experiences this same phenomena of the lens getting more and more stiff and stuck in the distance over time, of it losing this autofocus between near and distance vision. And so everybody who's between 45 and 50 either has to lift up their glasses to read, or put on a pair of readers, or get bifocals for the first time. That's the density. You lose the autofocus. The fancy name for this is presbyopia. But the other thing that happens is you keep laying down these new layers and new layers and it gets more and more compact, is that this gets cloudy. And that is a cataract. And that gives us the symptoms of a cataract, which is our final thought. So our final thought is about the symptoms of a cataract and when to treat it. We won't get into how to treat it because I think most people think cataract surgery is gross. I don't, but a lot of people do, and I get that. I said earlier at the beginning of this video that people develop cataracts so incredibly slowly that they don't recognize that it's happening. Probably the best comparison to that is if you went up to a 7-year-old kid and said, "Hey, I want you to watch yourself get taller for the next 10 years. There's not any single day where they're going to feel taller than they did the day before. There's this undeniable growth over that 10-year period, but they're not going to notice it at any point. You need some sort of hatch marks on the door and able to see that they're getting taller. That's the same way with cataracts, except it's over decades instead of over just 1 decade, which is why I wanted to give you the symptoms so that you can know if your vision's worse than it should be. So the two big ones. One is scattering light. Now that may seem very vague. Sounds vague even as I write it. But the reason I write it out that way is because it has to do with how a cataract forms. I said it gets denser. Those layers in the middle, the crystalline proteins, they become deformed and they start to scatter and spray the light as it comes into your eye instead of focusing it all really nicely. And that's why this symptom is a problem with night driving. It's blackout, pupils are big, you're driving down the road and headlights come at you and that beam of light hits this cataract and it sprays. And so if you've ever said, "I can drive fine, I just don't like to drive at night because I can't see because the lights bother my eyes or because I have too much glare and halos and starbursts," that's the first one. And the other one has to do not with scattering light, but filtering light. And this one, same idea. Everything's getting more and more dense and compact, and you can imagine trying to shine light through a greater amount of more dense material, it's going to filter the light out. And what's the symptom of this one? I'll do a little arrow there. The symptom of this one, reading menus. And really it's reading anything, but I choose menus because we don't get to choose the lighting in the restaurant. And so if you've ever seen somebody, or if you've ever been somebody who uses the light on your phone to shine it on the menu because you're somebody who says, "I can read fine, I just need a lot of light to do it," it's that same problem. It's a cataract forming because that layers of density inside your lens they're filtering this light out. And so night driving and reading vision without lots and lots of light, those are the two main symptoms of a cataract. So if you've ever said either of those two things, it's not that you do have cataracts, it's just that you are probably along the road. Or maybe you do. But it's not bad news whenever you do because it's one of those beautiful, curable problems. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something. I feel like for the deleted scene I should mention something that most people aren't going to know. Not most people, but I bet there's people who don't know who Dumbledore is. If the Dumbledore thing with the reading glasses, I feel like I should name other famous reading glasses just in case that seemed like an out of touch. So there's a Dick Durbin. He's got his famous reading glasses that he wears. Oh, Bob Newhart. He had them. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else famous with reading glasses. Well, Dumbledore. I mean, probably the most famous of all. That's it. That's all we have for this video. Thank you.